Okay, so would you like to introduce yourself while I get that set up?
Okay, so I'm Luong. I'm from Vietnam, and right now I'm doing a bachelor degree in media design in Hanover, Germany. I'm in my third semester right now, so yeah,
Nice. Wait, how? Man, I'm so bad at that stuff. How long is that? Third semester,
third semester. So that's the beginning of the second year.
beginning of second year.
Yeah,
This way here. I'm going to. I'll put me down here. There we go. Too crazy. Okay, so it says. So you're in Germany, like you're saying.
yep.
How did you get into like what made you want to get into this world of 3D?
Oh, actually, like I was playing Dishonored, and I kind of walking down the sunset area of one of the level, and I say like, damn, it's like a painting, but I'm living in it.
Yeah.
So I want to recreate this kind of feeling,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's where it all kind of started. Yeah.
You're like, oh my god. It's like it sounds like an epiphany moment, like a realization.
Yeah, like, I love this. It's like a painting, but I'm moving in it. Like, yeah, I wanna make more of these.
Yeah, you want to make that stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, were you doing 3D before you went to school for it?
Yes, way before I already studied like 2 years of graphic design in Vietnam, where I come from. So yeah, I did. If you count the very first 3D piece that I made, I think it's 5 years now.
Oh,
But
wow.
it's
Okay.
on and
Yeah.
off. Yeah, it's on and off, so it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
constant.
So, I let's see with the so your first piece is 3 years ago. I don't know if
Yeah.
these are in a different order. So this is 2
I
years, 2
yeah, I
years.
think the orders are pretty solid right there. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so I mean, it looks like so you're saying 3D environment
Yes.
student. I mean, it's so it's funny because like I feel like everyone is a student forever. So I
Uh-huh.
would argue that you might be able to on your portfolio just right out of the gate, just make it say environment artist, and then you could, if you want to make sure people know you're going to school, you can put the name of the school like in brackets or something next to it, right?
Oh,
Because
because I don't think that I'm good enough. So
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, the reality is no one's ever uh, they never hit like if you're always aiming for the stars, right? There's
Uh-huh.
always a further star to get to, right? The end of the end of space is kind of endless. So it's like I would say just say 3D environment artist, and then next to it instead of student, just say the school that you're going to, because that says student, but then it also I would say it kind of allows you to just be an artist in the end,
Yeah,
right?
okay. Understand.
Um, but I mean, if you feel uncomfortable doing that, then go ahead and leave student on there. It's just
Yeah.
I don't think this I don't see any positives out
Okay.
of having student on there, but I also don't see like I don't know. I like the idea that we're always learning, and so we're always students in the end.
I
Um,
understand.
but so it looks like so you've dabbled a little bit in a few things. You have a weapon here. You've got a stylized material dump, which is just like a lot of like different materials that are stylized. Um,
Yes.
are you are you still leaning towards environments? Like, do you want to make full environments, or are you interested in the props or some of these like semi
Um,
what are they semi big tasks where it's a whole building?
hmm, right now I am fully focused on environment building. Like I have a work in progress blog if you want to check that out too.
Yeah,
But yes, I
definitely.
am right now I am researching technical art for shaders and stuff in Unreal Engine.
Hmm?
So my final goal is to build an environment in Unreal. Yeah.
Right. Cool. Yeah, so it looks like this is Blender. So you're using Blender and looks like Designer and maybe Substance Painter with your yeah, cool. Marmoset, Photoshop. It's funny. I see Photoshop on some portfolios, and then I don't see it in others.
Uh,
And I think I want to say that it's really important to understand how Photoshop works because it's like the other half of your presentation. And I think that's why,
yes.
like at least here, in the pistol that you have here, it looks like you were using Photoshop. So I guess it's more for like like final tweaks and adjustments.
Yes. Post processing and
Hmm.
that final retouching. Yeah.
Yeah. So we won't spend too much time on the older stuff, and we can kind of just head towards the blog. But is there anything in particular that you feel like uh, you're having a hard time with when it comes to like what you're building with buildings? Because when I look at this building's quite good, and I don't know how
Uh,
game ready it is. Like I
it
assume it's yeah. Go ahead.
it is not. It is
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
Yeah. Um. I just this is I straight up aim for the atmosphere
Hmm.
and the feel of the building rather than like the technical stuff. So yeah, this is I think some of my earlier pieces. So I'm
Hmm.
just getting to know and how to work on bigger projects in Blender. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, this looks really cool because like when you look at just the like you're saying, you're trying to capture that the just the look and feel of things. Um, that's probably the nice thing about not trying to worry about being game ready, right? So it's
yeah,
like, okay, if I can just make it look cool or make it look the way I'm seeing it in my head or from the reference,
yeah,
um,
definitely.
it's nice to just think about it in that regard. Um, it looks like once you went to the this revolver,
Hmm.
you started going in the direction of like the real time materials and work like that. And I can see it in the way that like was this the first time you'd used Painter or had you used it prior to that?
Yes. Um, it's among the project I used to learn Painter. It's
Hmm.
one of those projects, like I want to learn this and this and this, and then you make a project out of it.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's one of those projects.
no, it's awesome that it's probably one of the best ways as long as you're not trying to learn too many things in a row. Um,
Yeah.
if you can focus on right, because like if you were trying to, I don't know how much you were trying to learn while making this. Is it maybe like hard surface and baking and
Yes.
texturing at the
Um,
same time?
for this project, I focused on optimize a game ready assets, so the poly count and that kind of stuff, and then focus on the texturing and the feel of the gun. So I wanted
Yeah.
the paint job is actually my idea. So the original is the original texture in the concept is I find it
Oh
kind of
yeah,
boring.
this one. Yeah.
So yeah,
Let's see what we're looking at
so
here.
I want to kind of use it like I don't know, maybe an industrial tool,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that is
This one looks like
well,
it's for a
yeah,
winter scene.
yeah,
But I okay. So if we look at this this prop, for example, I think the reason I was asking if it was like the first time you were getting used to Painter and such is when you start to see like over wear or over damage,
yeah.
and
That I got a lot of feedback about that too.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean there. I will say though that I can tell that you're focusing on it because like under here, like on the scope, for example, it you're not getting the damage all the way around, and that's the stuff you want to be looking for. Is it's cool to have these for breakup, right? And it kind of adds a little bit of storytelling to the surfaces of materials, but it's watching out for not being able to explain how that type of damage occurs. Like here on the man, I don't even know what this part would
the,
be called, but
yeah,
the
I'm not sure.
the revolving chamber, I guess
Hmm.
is maybe what it would be called. I'm sure someone in chat is about to cut me down. Yeah, this area it's trying to be able to explain how that damage occurs and why it looks cloudy versus like so like here for example as well. It's really understanding what type of surface we're thinking about. So like even here, like this is maybe I can get no. This is let's see if I can zoom
No,
in here.
that's yeah.
So like down here, this is pretty bumpy, right? So
Yeah,
that means that like if I look at that, that means that the paint is quite thick, and then it almost looks like it got worn down by acid, if that makes sense. So
really.
what you would
Yeah.
think of is like, okay, the paint's probably going to go on pretty thin and be like like a it's like a powder coating is how they would apply
Uh-huh.
it. And so
Mm.
thinking about how surfaces are painted and how they wear down is really important, and it helps you understand how the textures should read. So I would actually expect this paint to be um, at least in the normal and height information to be quite smooth, and it's more about like any of the scratches or kind of changes in the roughness value, and then all the damage is going to happen on the edges here.
Mm.
So it's thinking about those types of details when you get into this type of stuff, but
Uh-huh.
your attention to detail I'm finding quite interesting because there's certain areas where like this wire here and the black
Duct
this
tape, yeah.
black tape that's here. It looks like kind of the tape where they wrap it around and then they heat it with like a little
Oh
flame
yeah.
real quick and let it like melt to the that's the attention to detail that a lot of people look for when it comes to like either props or for in this example it would be a prop detail, but in environments it would be a very similar approach with the way that you're propping a scene. But let's see if we can go to the what's your thoughts on substance designer? Is it something that
Substance.
you're like really interested in, or is it just a
Yeah.
means to an end for like helping you with building environments?
Substance designer, I think it's actually yeah, it absolutely because I just love because I change my mind all the time during production. So I don't like hand painting that much because if I change my mind, then there's a lot of things that I have to rework. So substance designer, I just love to the idea to go back and make changes as I go and not be locked down to the decision of my
Yeah.
past self. So yeah, so it's a really big thing for me, and I try to keep my workflow as procedural as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, substance designer is a big, big thing for me.
Yeah. There's some cool stuff in here. I can tell that it's like you have a pretty good understanding of the base features of building materials. I mean, this is going further than what I can do now because like
Oh,
I don't use it at all, almost ever. I mean, you
oh,
should have seen
then
me last stream.
my work in progress is gonna be really interesting now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. But I mean, this is pretty cool, and I'm noticing. So there's some stylized stuff. You've got like the medieval taverns, quite. It's like semi-realistic.
Yeah.
Is your interest more in like a stylized work, or is it more into realistic stuff?
It's in the mystical land of semi-realism.
Yeah.
Right now, yeah, I don't want to work on realistic stuff, but the classical cartoony stylized is also not my cup of tea. So I aim for
Yeah.
the right now the painterly kind of style. That's
Right.
my aim for right now. Yeah.
Dude, I'm looking at this. This stuff's super interesting. I find this really intriguing. The scale differences you're working with in your like I want to call it ivy. It's like it's behaving like ivy, but the leaf
Yeah,
types are a little different.
yes, it's Ivy.
But it's really interesting because it's not often that you see a scale difference where you've got like larger leaves and then the smaller stuff as well.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna pretend that it was intentional.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, it's totally fine. It's one thing that's I find interesting about scale with this type of stuff is you have to remember that the leaves aren't all the same age, right? Some are
Yes.
really young, and then some are old and dying, and then you have like all of the in between. And the scale and color kind of dictates and helps describe like what the state is of each leaf.
Yes.
Um, Not saying you have
Definitely.
to solve every single leaf, but it helps understand
Yeah.
like what's going on there.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but there's a lot of features that you're applying in this. I can see all the materials that you'd used in that you'd built in Designer,
Yep.
and it looks like were you UVing these like material blending,
I
or like how would you set this up?
um I actually painted them on in Substance Painter.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, I use Alpha and
Yeah.
painted them on in Substance Painter.
Wait, I need to. So see, when I hear stuff like that, like first of all, that can be really difficult to replicate when it comes to like being in game because you need to be able to reuse stuff a lot
Yes.
when possible. But at the same time, when I hear stuff like that, I'm really intrigued by how it was approached, and so I want to
Yeah.
scroll through here and see. I should probably. I'm gonna paste this in chat too. I want to scroll through here and see like how it was done, but I'm not seeing any breakdowns or like it would be really valuable to see
Oh,
wireframes or understanding like how
okay.
pieces are put together, um, unwraps and just anything that can help us understand how you put stuff together
Okay.
in the end. Because like
Because
I look at this and I immediately see like if I zoom in here, like I see this beam here could literally be the tiling wood material that you've made, and then in another UV set you positioned this pattern as a tileable normal,
oh,
just and
okay.
UV'd that spot to it, and then you've blended those two normals together, and then you have that. So that would be a tileable wood material, and then a tileable like almost a trim pattern for this,
Ah, I understand.
and then you wouldn't
Past
have
me.
to. Yeah, you wouldn't have to be in Painter to do that. That would all be UV work and then shader work.
Yeah. Past me, like me when I was doing this,
Mm-hmm.
it was not at that advanced at all. Like I don't even know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even know about multiple UV workflow. So yeah.
that does tend to come quite late for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But the I mean the textures you've got going on here, like this wood material is very like chipped up, but it's quite
Yeah.
interesting what it does with the lighting. So that's really cool. And there's one thing
I
I'm noticing about your portfolio in general is it just you have an interesting I'm really curious about this blog post now because you have an interesting approach to the way your materials look. So like this building is pretty cool.
I think go back to the wood material. I think the way I approached that
This
was
one
no,
here,
no,
yeah.
no, no. The beams in the tavern.
Hmm.
The way I approach that is I have a wood material for the surfaces and another material for the corner, because when you think about working those beams, the the people gonna hew the surfaces, and for the corner they're gonna have to like go in and then rough it up a bit, like because they cannot
Yeah.
get the smooth with the primitive tools. So
Yeah.
I purposely use a rougher, a more yeah, a rougher material there to make the corner a bit, I don't know, jagged is the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you lose that the straight edge of it just being
Yes.
geometry. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good approach cuz that's how you get rid of the 3D feel or the
Yeah.
feel of it just looking like geo.
Yeah.
Um let's look at this so we've got this Halo 4 helmet.
Yeah.
Um and this is actually like there's still issues to be had, which with everything has issues always. There's always something that can be better, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Um,
understand.
but definitely you've turned up your quality quite a bit more. Um, like this is much better than the pistol,
The
and I
gun,
guess
yeah.
that's like 9 months ago versus 2 years ago. So
Yes.
of course, there's going to be a bit of progress, right? Um,
Uh, I hope so.
one thing I would suggest being careful about is so you have this damage on the
Yes.
edges, and you're applying it a lot of the times in the normal map,
Yeah.
and most of the time you don't need to do that. A lot of the times it can be handled just with the color
Mm-hmm.
and the roughness change. And then if it's like if it's paint versus metal, it's just a matter of having it metalness versus non-metal in
Mm-hmm.
the metallic map.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and also I got a lot of
mm,
feedback that my normal difference is a bit too much. So yeah, I'm gonna tone it down.
mm. Yeah, the strength of these types of
Yeah.
damage. Yeah, and I mean in some cases you would do damage like this if it's really extreme, but it is
Mm-hmm.
like what you're saying. It's really toning down the strength of it and letting the surface and the roughness tell the story for you.
Mm.
Um, and I guess the only other thing that I really like the mud being on here because it gives you an opportunity to have a different roughness type. I don't know if it's supposed to be dry or wet, but like
Oh.
having that mud on there and then showing like two different materials is really nice, especially if they can have a bit of a contrast between their roughness value. Like if the mud was wet and then the
Mm-hmm.
paint was kind of like a dull paint, or the other way around where it's quite a reflective paint and then the mud is just dried on it and kind of changing the roughness information
Okay.
there. This type of detail I always find really interesting.
Yeah, I
Um,
actually got that from you. So you
oh
keep
yeah,
saying add contrast in the roughness, and
yeah.
then I add it, and then some people actually come back and say, I think you should add more contrast in the roughness. And I was like, what?
Oh
Yeah.
man. So there's this type of detail, like it's getting information into that surface, right? So it's not just a flat color. But when it comes to or like a flat roughness, but when it comes to like this type of detail, you can keep it like inside of a similar range to the paint,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll get the information there, but it won't like overpower the rest of the image. Let me see if I can. Oh yeah, your images are getting higher res too. It's always nice to be able to click on an image and see it just a little bit bigger. Yeah, see these details here. I don't think you need normals
Yeah,
on the dirt.
that's a bit too much.
Let me see if I can do this really fast here. Just gonna check if yes. Okay. So, oh yeah, you can't see this actually. I need to share. I need to change windows because you're watching through the stream, right? Or through the
No, I'm
Discord.
watching on Discord. Yeah.
Okay, give me a second here. I'm just gonna switch to Photoshop for you. Okay, so now we're in Photoshop. So you can see like this type of information is pretty strong, um, detail wise. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going to go in and of course I'm just eyeballing this, so this is going to be pretty, and I'm doing it with a mouse, so my abilities are going to be a little limited. But toning this all back down, this is like what it's like when you don't have that information in, right? It becomes quite flat.
Yep.
And adding the information can give you that contrast and the detail to kind of push that fidelity. I think when it comes to the strength of it, though, if you keep it closer to a range that instead of it being full on like this, if it was
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around like, I don't know, the halfway mark, you get
Uh-huh.
the information, but it doesn't overpower the overall image. So you can kind of keep the areas of rest. You know, I'm always talking about like high detail versus low detail, where it's like you need
Uh-huh.
30% high detail and then 70% areas of rest. When
Yeah.
you have like the fidelity really cranked up in the contrast of the surface, uh, that turns it into a high detail surface. So just
Mm-hmm.
by toning it back, you're going to kind of come back to a surface that has something going on it, but it's not adding to the noise that makes the overall image really strong and
Yeah.
intense. Um, but yeah, let me switch back to where we at here.
Another part is like
Yeah.
the balancing act, because if you go too subtle, some people might not notice it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go too strong, then yeah, you have like this kind of too contrasty. So it's a balancing act that I'm still trying to master.
Yeah, I think so. I think in Substance Painter, what you can do is if you treated this as like a pass that you would do,
Hmm.
like you get it all textured, and then you in that pass you then add on its. When I say a pass, I mean its own layer. You add these types of details to just the roughness. You can then easily control the strength of that, right? Because you can just lower the opacity of that layer.
Yeah.
So you could group it all together and do it for all of the materials, and then go in and like manually tweak the strength of it separate of everything else. That's why I always say you block out your albedo and your roughness range for like what
Hmm.
you want. Like all of the red paint, I want that roughness value, and all of the white paint, I want this roughness value, and all the rubber will be this roughness. Then when you do that kind of dirtiness pass on top of it, you can then separately affect how strong that is in the roughness. But we've got 5 minutes, so I want to make sure we look at your blog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because now I'm curious what's going on there. Okay.
So this is my style reference. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And this is some stuff that I made with the Blender geometry node, so I can control each
Yeah.
part of the canopy. Yeah, and
Oh
this
yeah, you're
is
getting real technical now. Yeah.
yeah the wind, and yeah I wind and then multiply by a sine wave by two sine wave to randomize the wind gusts.
Mm-hmm.
And at the bottom is I stylize, so we need the color gradient, so I add that. And at, you scroll down, so this is
Oh, dude. Yeah. Okay.
yeah um this is I use a high poly mesh in Blender, and then I bake them down to get the mask in Substance Designer,
Mm-hmm.
and then I use that those information to generate albedo and normal of information, and
Yeah.
then use that, yeah, to generate a background tree plane, so to speak. Same goes for the clouds too. Those clouds are procedural, so I can go back and change the silhouette and change normal and change. I can get a lot of information just from Substance Designer baking. Yeah.
Man, this is super cool. Yeah, you're diving deep now.
Yeah.
I think you've gone from like so you understand texturing. You're still I can tell you're still working on your PBR understanding, but you're this is definitely more stylized uh, than realistic. But I mean, if you're having fun doing it, and it sounds like there's more than one of you, or is this like a group thing that's going on?
No, it's just me. It's all
Okay,
me. Yeah.
yeah, this is really cool,
Yeah. Thanks.
and the color gradient's really nice for the leaves because
Yes.
you can vary those up. The other thing you could do is like if these are individually placed,
Hmm.
there are ways in the shader to make it so like as you move these around, they can have a subtle shift in their value. So you can have
Uh,
every tree near each other, but the brightness, like they're either brighter or darker just by a very small amount, which helps separate them from each other.
uh,
When you're looking up in the top area here, this is really cool.
yeah.
Are you
I'm
so? Are
gonna
you
look into
enjoying this aspect of it?
that. I think it's an aspect. Yeah, actually, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's an. At first, I think it was necessary, and then I kind of like it,
yeah,
and now I'm just yeah. I don't
yeah. Now you're
know.
just sitting there tweaking it constantly.
Yes. I need to build like this is all like research and development. Nothing is final. Everything is blocked out. So I need still to get my scene and still need to get my scene
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
No, it's cool though. It looks like you're making some great progress on this. Uh, is there any questions that you have pertaining to anything that we've talked about, or questions that you might have had before before the call?
Ah. Oh, actually, my mind is blank right now. Oh boy. I
That's
actually.
fine. I
Yeah.
mean, you can message me
Yeah.
afterwards as well. I
Yeah.
mean,
Like
my chat's always kind of open, so
I think yeah we okay. So we already like past my time. So I
we're getting
shouldn't.
there.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So maybe I shouldn't take the time from the person next to me. So yeah, let's
you
wrap
could
this
do
up.
you could do one question if you
Oh
if you have
boy.
one. No pressure.
Um, so actually, this the thing that sticks out the most in my mind right now
Mhm.
is I'm not sure. So the thing that I'm working on right now, all this shader and stuff, I think it's in the realm of technical art.
Yep.
And like, if I want to go deeper and I actually like want to get employed in this field? Like, where should I start? Because there's obviously no field of study or no.
Yeah, or
Uh,
like a clear path. Like you can't
yeah,
show them a tech art portfolio and then bam,
yeah,
you can
yeah.
apply
That's what
for it.
I mean.
I mean, the reality is it's kind of a tech art portfolio. Bumby in chat, you see his name. I believe he is in the server as well. I can never tell anymore because he likes to lurk. But Bumby in chat, he's a technical artist, and he's been doing
Yeah,
it for a while. And I would say the stuff you're posting here with like how you're breaking down the technicals and like setting up shaders and the stuff that you're interested in making work, that becomes the portfolio. So if you're really interested in tech art and heading in that direction, I think posting it in a blog is totally fine. And when you apply to a studio for like tech art, like you could turn these blogs into um, like
breakdowns, right?
a breakdown or a PDF that kind of comes with the application along with your
Yeah,
portfolio. Because it's always cool if like you're also good at art and then you're very technically driven in your mind, because then you've got the best of both worlds. You understand what artists are looking for and you can help them and the tech team build what'll work for the
yeah,
project that you're on. So I think this is the way to go. The your how your blog is set up.
yeah. So as my project get more and more complicated, and I like especially all this researching, I
Hmm.
think in the future I'm gonna add like a breakdown for every project. So that's be real nice.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome then. Well, if you have any other questions, just feel free to message me. Like we have a little chat group, right, for the portfolio reviews, and
Yeah,
that never goes away. Like it archives, but if you message in it, I'll respond in it because I'm in there. It'll show up for me too. So,
yeah. Okay, I'll keep that
but
in mind.
yeah, thanks for showing me your portfolio. I would say you're on your way. By the time you finish school, I would say we just need to understand what you want to be.
Yeah,
You know, like, are you an environment artist or are you working on materials? Organizing this in a way where I can clearly understand like what you're interested in. Because you could do this same post and then do the tree stuff, this
hmm,
technical stuff you did for the trees. You could make that the post, and then it's like you could tag it like technical, like tech art, and then when you go
mm,
through it, then it's just a breakdown of all the technical stuff that you've done for that
yeah,
specific feature.
yeah. I like a breakdown and
Yeah.
about what I want to be. I feel like right now I feel like a control freak kind of environment
Yeah.
artist because I want to control everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I dive into like everything because I want to control everything for my art. So yeah, that's what I am right now.
Yeah, it's no worries. And also, don't freak out about picking an option. Like, oh, I'm gonna go down tech art. I'm scared. I'm just gonna be doing that forever. Like, you have all the time of making video games to switch roles, and people move around and do all types of stuff. So don't
Yeah.
worry too much about it. But cool. Thank you for the call, man.
Thank you for having me.
And I guess I'll hop into the next call. But I'll talk to you later.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, see you. Bye.